So what is this process of creating a brand, right from a small business owner to a very big, large corporate brand?
Brand is something which creates a combination and collection of emotions. A brand can be of an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur himself can be a brand, or the organizations that he owns or represents.
Small business owners or comic business owners, they feel that brand is the look of the product or the look of the logo. So they end up doing a branding exercise, make a new logo, make a brochure, design your all the presentations, the office, everything. Does that really mean branding? Beyond designing or look and feel of the logo or the product, or it is something else which is more important in branding?
The look of the logo, the packaging, product visibility, all that has to be good, not a problem. It is a part of your branding exercise, but it is a very small part of your branding exercise. What's most important is the experience that you create in the form of a transaction that you do with your customer.
So how the valuation game is impacted through building a good brand?
Valuation is what we should work for. Operating profits will keep us floating, but ultimately the ultimate encashment of the efforts that you have put, of the attention that you gave, of the efforts collectively that you brought together of your teams, vendors, everybody involved in the business is valuation.
So in this series of podcast, we are discussing the challenges of small business owners. We have already covered points like mindset and marketing and merger and acquisitions and topics like that. Today with us we have our guest Mr. Agnelorajesh, and today we are going to speak about a topic called branding in business. So sir, whenever we we meet small business owners or entrepreneurs, they always feel that I should have my product as a brand, my service should be looked upon as a brand. So what is this process of creating a brand, right from a small business owner to a very big, large corporate brand?
Well, branding is a very interesting subject, one of my favorites. Brand is something which creates a combination and collection of emotions in the mind of the people or the person who's heard the name. A brand can be of an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur himself can be a brand, or the organizations that he owns or represents. Either the individual is bigger than the brand or the brand is bigger than the organization. It depends on the line of business that you're into.
Correct.
Like for example, in the case of film stars, their personal name is a bigger brand than the company that they own, and vice versa. So what we need to understand is we need to be strategically aware about the kind of emotions that should emote in the minds of your potential customer base and customers on the basis of the dealings that you have done via the transactions that you have had. So it's very critically important of the experiences that you create for your customers for them to have the right emotions in place about you as a brand. So it's a science and it is a reality. You need to be conscious and aware about it. Not only you as an entrepreneur, but the entire team in the organization needs to be aware about what should be the experience that you should stitch together to your customer so that he approves you as a trusted brand in his mind. Every brand emotes emotions. Like for example, whenever you hear the name Tata, automatically there is a lot of trust, reliability, history that comes up into your mind, and your decision making becomes very, very fast. So every brand, like for example, when you want to buy a house, then the brand of the developer plays first in your mind before the product comes into the place. And it is all our subconscious mind that processes this kind of information. So every point of time when you are facing to the customer or to your market, you are actually programming about you as a brand in the minds of your potential market. So we really need to understand this well, and every experience that you create for your customer is actually defining the character of your brand in the minds of that potential customer or the existing customer. And these are very vital elements that as entrepreneurs we should always be aware about. A brand is a promise which needs to be delivered. The percentage of that delivery will define the percentage of the brand that is getting created in the minds of your target audience, your customers and the potential customer. So you really need to be very careful about that. But not only you, but everybody in your system needs to be aware about the brand that is being created.
Great. So many times, small business owners or upcoming business owners, they feel that brand is the look of the product or the look of the organization or the look of the logo. So they end up doing a branding exercise, which is called make a new logo, make a brochure, design your all elements, all the presentations, the office, everything. But does that really mean branding? Is it beyond designing or look and feel of the logo or the product, or it is something else which is more important in branding?
So the look of the logo, the packaging, the product visibility, all that has to be good. That is not a problem. It is a part of your branding exercise, but it is a very small part of your branding exercise. What's most important is the experience that you create in the form of a transaction that you do with your customer, especially the after sales service. Whenever a transaction happens, the real branding takes place after the customer is using your product or your service. What he feels at that time and how he gets supported in times of his need will define the brand that you're creating in the minds of the people. It might be a Mercedes car, but if the brand handlers are goofing up with the experience, you will start disliking it. Even if it is a Mercedes brand, the product is great. The price might be great compared to the comfort that you get. But what is the experience of the customer with the people who are handling that brand? The point of transaction matters the most. That's the reason whenever large brands like a Mercedes or an Apple or a Mahindra, when they appoint people to represent them in the form of dealers or dealerships, they create a whole mechanisms to make sure that every experience of the customer is pleasant, smooth and fluid. Otherwise, it is the brand that gets damaged. And when the brand gets damaged, it is many multiples of the profit that you have made from that one customer's transaction. But that one dissatisfied transaction can spoil 100 transactions or 1,000 transactions of yours, because today they express themselves on social media. So it is very critically important on how you create customer experience. Now it is not only restricted to customer experience. When you are creating the brand, it is your vendor experience with your brand, it is your employee experience with your brand, it is the government's experience with your brand, it is everybody in the environment of that brand which is responsible to create the branding that is rightly required. It is not only pleasing your customer, but it is pleasing the entire ecosystem. You don't have to please them, you just need to do what is supposed to be done in the right possible manner. So every interaction with everybody in your ecosystem is moving towards establishing you as a brand in the minds of the people around you, or the market around you, or your targeted market. So you really need to be conscious about every step. So your experience which is visible is definitely important, but your experience which is not visible also needs to be excellent in the background.
Great.
Like for example, I operate restaurant, Sante Spa Cuisine. I am a part of Sante Spa Cuisine as a brand. Now you can't see what's happening in the kitchen. You are allowed to see, but you can't see it. It's in a room that's not visible. It's not transparent. But even there, in spite of not being transparent, all elements need to be right in terms of hygiene, cleanliness, talking, the assembly line in the kitchen of how the things move, the training of the team which is handling the food. Everything has to be in the right element, apart from your customer service in the front side of the restaurant where you are interacting with the customer. So over there, your experience that you are giving to the customer, the ambience, the look, the food, the plating on the food, the frequency on how you are interacting with the client, how you are educating the client. Sante has got very multiple choice of cuisines. So how it gets explained to the customer, everything needs to be in place for you to become a brand in the minds of the customer and your potential customer. So it's a very important element and it helps your valuation subsequently.
Great. So I think what you're mentioning is, in branding there is a term called touch points, and every brand has multiple touch points. So for example, we see a good brand and when we go to the website is not working. So that is one touch point which has gone wrong. Maybe sometimes we make a call to the number given and the number is not been picked immediately. That is another touch point. So in your business, in the restaurant business, what are the multiple touch points and how every touch point can impact the credibility of your brand in the mind of the customers?
It is, everything is in sync. Like for example, your social media communication to the world. So that has to be right. You need to communicate the message which goes in sync with the philosophy of the brand. So that also is your touch point. It's your viewpoint, but it's your touch point, because that view is subsequently going to help you to create the people or the person to come to the outlet, to the restaurant. But right from there to the call that you make for the booking, to when you are handled when the restaurant is full and you're in the waiting, how the hostess handles your waiting time. Then from there, when they take you to the restaurant, make you sit to the table, to the menu that's given to you, the way it's given to you, the way the menu is explained to you, to how well the washrooms are kept, to how well you're explained on what should be going along with what. If you're having a mocktail or a cocktail, which one will blend to the menu that you have ordered. Those kind of suggestions, taking care of the minutest details of the customer is all nothing but moving towards brand creation in the minds of the people. So every touch point is critical. Like for example, I have another brand called Bod Active. We are into gym wear and also athleisure. So how the clothing looks on somebody who's using it on your social media feed, on your website, the fluency of the communication, the minimalisticness that you want to maintain on your website, the way the prices are mentioned, the way every click performs, the way you are taken to your cart, the way you are helped to do the checkout, to the way logistics happen, to the way the delivery happens, to the way the delivery timings which are committed are met. Every experience is critically important, to the way packaging happens, to the way the comfort is there to open the package. Sometimes the packaging is so complicated of some products that it is a task to even get it opened up. So it's not a pleasurable experience. So even that has to be taken into consideration. Every minute movement of all elements in the business needs to be strategically planned, checked, rechecked and kept checking all the time. You cannot say ki today now my systems are in place, now I'm satisfied, I'm happy. No, you need to be alert every breathing moment of the business and every breathing moment of that brand. And all this adds to your brand value at the end when you culminate all these experiences together. Every touch point is critically important, but there are not too many touch points. Touch points are single digit. You might have 8 to 9 touch points of your business. Just write it down. Just peg the responsibility to somebody in the organization and make sure that those touch points are taken care of. And as a brand owner, as a business owner, make sure that at regular intervals, you monitor whether those touch points are being justified or not.
So many times we see, that is a very good brand and the look and feel of the brand is very, very good. But the multiple touch points are not being taken care, and that actually creates a negative impact on the mind of the customer. So one area of impact of the brand is the customer, but there is also another brand value which is added to the investor's mind. Whenever we are evaluating your company, your business, the brand valuation is a very unique thing and a very separate thing. And many times I have heard that many organizations have actually used their brand name as an asset, as an IP, and that has different valuations. So how the valuation game is impacted through building a good brand?
Oh, that's a very important and a very interesting question, because valuation is what we should work for. Operating profits will keep us floating, but ultimately the ultimate encashment of the efforts that you have put, of the attention that you gave, of the efforts collectively that you brought together of your teams, vendors, everybody involved in the business is valuation. And the valuation or the value of the brand is beyond the value of the collective assets that the business has. Let me give you a very real example. You can Google it. I'm not going to take the name, but you can Google what I'm saying. Many years back, almost 1.5 decades back, a very prominent organization of this country was bought by a Japanese company. When they had their first line of conversations, the Japanese company offered a brand value or the business value of 2,200 crores. Now, this company was very smart. What they did, they took 2 years to negotiate. And in that 2 years, they sold all the real estate assets of that organization. And then subsequently, they sold the brand for 2,200 crores. And they sold their real estate assets in the company at 2,000 crores. So for a business which would have given them a revenue of 2,200 crores on sale, gave them 2,000 plus 2,200, that is 4,200 crores in totality. Now the advantage over that was the buying company was interested in the market of that business, not the real estate assets of that business. What was the market of the business? The customer base, the experiences of the customers, the distribution network of the brand, and the sales speed of the products across the country. That is what they were interested in. They were not interested in the assets of the organization. They would have been, but this company was convincing enough to them to sell the business at 2200 crores minus the real estate which they are already sold. So which means the value of the market size created by that brand was the real valuation of the business, and the assets that the brand created along the journey of the business making of the last 30, 35, 40 years was an additional bonus to the sale of that business. So the value of the brand is critically important and it is priceless. Like for example, Apple. The value of the brand of Apple is in trillions of dollars. Now, Apple does not have assets of $1 trillion, but a $1 trillion business of Apple is nothing but the market that they have established across the world. And that's the valuation. As entrepreneurs, we need to work towards building valuation. That is the real profits of the brand that they have strived for. It might be first generation, second generation, or fifth generation, does not matter. But valuation is what we need to work for. So even a fraction of the sale of the business for expansion purposes, if you need money, is something that you get from the valuation of that business and that organization. So I think every entrepreneur should work towards valuation, and valuation is nothing but the value of the brand that you're building.
Great. I think those are some great insights on branding, and thank you for that wonderful thought process that you have given us. I think next topic we will discuss on merger and acquisitions, and that also will be a very interesting topic. So let's be tuned to that.
Absolutely.